There's a lot of oversight, of course. It doesn't look like they're major league uniforms, but I have had such a blast online seeing what everybody's writing and tweeting. I think it's been fun.
But let's get to the drama of the last 24 hours as we charge the damn mound. We have a wardrobe malfunction. MLB 2024 presented by OnlyFans. Now, the latest issue is that players are wearing see-through pants. It is apparently the same material as it was in the past, but it's more of, say, an eggshell color. And there it is. So whatever is going on in your life underneath your pants is now brought to life thanks to Major League Baseball. Todd Father, imagine if you throw those things on and you run out there to play, and all anyone's thinking about, talking about, looking at is that instead of your glove, your bat, and your beautiful smile.
Yeah, they're worried about – Eric's looking for his – they're worried about the junk, man. I mean, Jesus. Let's talk about this. I mean, I have a 9-year-old too as well. He likes to wear lime green underwear underneath his pants, but I always told him, listen, you can't do it with the white pants. And the one time he did it, people are like, yo, dude, are those shorts, underwear? What do you got going on there? You got some people that are superstitious, some baseball players, wear some lime green, some lime anything, fluorescent, something underneath. It's going to show, man, and that's embarrassing. If you want the truth, I'm not a big fan of these pants. I know they're thin. They probably feel great. I've heard some good and bad about it. This is something crazy. I mean, what happens if Rob Manfred had to wear these pants? Going to work every day, dude, he wouldn't wear these. So that's just something where they have to fix it, just like the jerseys, and they got to fix it really quick because they don't have much time. It's difficult. I saw some other pictures where, I don't really want to look at too much. It's just, it's not very good for the eyes if you want the truth. So find a way to fix this one, please, for every fan of baseball.
You said you've heard some good about it?
Well, because of how thin it is.
If you find one person that's not a Nike athlete that has said this is good, please show me. Please DM me. Please send. I don't want DM pics of dudes wearing pants. Thank you, because we are getting some X-rated pant, like in-game pant usage, like this. I don't understand. In 2011 in Lehigh Valley, the Majestic store, the Majestic factory is in Lehigh Valley, in Allentown, and I got to try probably 8 different kinds of pants, different kinds of material, seeing how they wash a little bit thicker, like a double knee, a thinner pant. Not once did one of these pairs of home, do I say pairs or pair? Pairs of pants at home, which were white pants, were they ever see-through like this. This is Brutes Magoots.
Some people want a Chippendales sponsorship involved here. Dave also said, will there be dancing poles at every base now? Do we have poor young Casey Schmidt too?
Oh, my gosh, Casey.
Hi, listen.
Parents, you're about to potentially witness some disturbing scenes of unfortunate situations. Players that are victims of a league that has gone cheap and says, deal with it. You eventually will get used to showing everything and being balls to the wall in 2024.
I'm all about deal with it. I'm all about suck it up. Seriously, stop complaining. This is not a stop complaining situation. This is we blurred out a picture. We are not, we're not putting smut out on our show here. This is this is what was sent out, and they're allowing them to go onto the field. And some of the teams don't even have all their pants. They don't even have their custom pants yet. Did the season sneak up on you?
The Reds are still rocking their old pants right now.
Well, some of the teams have the new pants, but just uncustom. They're like, we'll get some larges, some extra larges, and some double XL. That's not how it goes.
Not in the big leagues. No
not in a show. That's a minor league issue.
Send those down to the minor leagues. Let them figure it out. You're in the big
Adam
leagues.
Jones says he goes commando, so he was like, I would have been out of the league fast.
Something's going to sneak up on somebody on first base when he's rounded, so he's got to be careful over there.
I'm telling you, Tony Clark spoke. Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
It's just something, again, in baseball where it's just like it's a head scratcher, dude. It's like, come on, dude. Why? The sport takes heat all the time, and now it's just one thing after another, brother.
It's preventable.
Very preventable.
This was preventable.
Let's fix this and move on. This shouldn't take that long. The salesperson needs to understand Major League Baseball players comes first. Fix this. You can figure this out within a week and get it out within a week. Couple weeks later, everybody should have the right pair of pants on.
Yeah, but they're not letting players do that. So multiple players who recently were fitted said requests to take the fabric in an inch on the thigh or the bicep are rejected. So you have certain body types that you get to pick from, right? Making it easier so that they don't have to do all of the tailoring. And I feel bad for the tailors because clearly they're missing out on business and they are very much needed. But Tony Clark said, he said, we offered input, suggested what the challenges were going to be, and they needed to be remedied on the front end. They weren't. And Clark, of course, leading the players union. So he's talking to players and he's like, adjustments are being made to jersey side, waist and seam length, thigh fit, bottom of your pants. The goal of these meetings is to provide players with the most comfortable uniforms available for opening day. So he said, they're talking to the people they're trying to talk to, but great article again by Stephen Nesbitt and some of his colleagues over at the Athletic, if you want to check it out. One player said he might just have to go to Dick's Sporting Goods and get it done. One NL All-Star apparently refused to wear the pants at all. You've got a coach who tried it on day one and then went home, got his stuff from last year and just said, all right, this is what I'm doing for the rest of the time. And I'll give you a couple funny little comments because it's all over social right now. So someone online said, one rain-delayed game will break the internet. Someone with an account, Manny Snackyow, said, whenever I'm nervous public speaking, I just pretend people in the audience are wearing baseball pants. And Sean Penny, replying to a Jared Carrabba's tweet, said, Nike probably. We listen to the players. We understand what they want. MLB players told us they intend to go balls out to win. So we design uniforms to show those balls.
Two things. This is why, honestly, it's funny because I got asked to bring my old Reds uniform to this event I had to do. I still have 90% of the pants I've worn. Do you or no?
No, I saved like 3 or 4 pair.
I don't know why I have them all from every team. I have a bunch of them, whatever it is. So it's like, this is case in point number one. Keep everything until you're done playing, pretty much.
Because you can reuse it now.
Exactly.
You could use last year's.
Yeah, and then number two, what happens? Just say all the players come together and like, you know what? We're gonna wear some baggy ass sweatpants just for a couple of days to, send an old big screw you to the league kind of deal, man. I think that would be pretty interesting, wouldn't you?
I think it would be hilarious. And the union's going around right now. They can connect. It's just like a Lego. It's like the Lego movie. Honey, where are my pants?
Why not? What are you gonna do?
Well, let's bring in a guest to help us out here, okay? Because she is witty on socials and probably having a blast over the past couple days reading all of the fan replies to what's going on here. Jessica Kleinschmidt, who also works with Awful Announcing in the Comeback Group, and you can listen to Short and to the Point, her show, which I'm sure will cover what's going on here. Jess, great to see you. Feel like you would enjoy a topic like this because at this point, I don't know if I'm comfortable telling some of my friends who have young kids that they should watch Major League games right now. I want them to fix things up a little bit and then say it's okay because they don't have editors like we do at FT to blur everything.
Yeah, and I was looking at some of these photos and it just reminds me of like back in the day when we used to play Little League. We could see the pocket inside of our pants or through the pants. And it just very much reminds me of that. But it's kind of like the baseball team in a movie where the movie isn't about a baseball team, but there's a baseball team there. So they have to put uniforms on them. I don't know. There's a lot of oversight, of course. It doesn't look like their major league uniforms, but I have had such a blast online seeing what everybody's writing and tweeting. I think it's been fun. It does suck because we're getting a little too much behind the scenes of what goes into, the heartbeat of under the uniforms is a little too specific at this point. But yeah, it's weird. I don't like, and especially if you compare them to the previous years, and like the uniforms were so sick last year. I loved them, and then you makes you miss what we used to have. So, but yeah, online's having a lot of fun with it.
Todd, I think we're getting a little too much of what's going in the pants, in the uniforms too.
I think so too. I think that's maybe for somebody else to talk about, not me, because that's it's tough.
Todd's blushing.
I am. Excuse me for a second. But on a serious note, there's a thin line between comfort and embarrassment, in my opinion. Well, in everybody's opinion. I mean, you want to be comfortable. You want to wear something that's comfortable. They're professional athletes making all this money. People are watching on TV. But now it's kind of an embarrassment. Why? They say the old saying, don't if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The uniforms have always been great. Even if it was from Majestic, another company, I get it. Why not just mimic what has been going well? Why do we have to always come to a situation where, we got to keep up with the times. We got to have holes in the jerseys to make it breathable. We got to have pants that are thinner. No, it's not always the case. I just don't understand why everybody has to switch everything up when things are always been that good.
I totally agree. And especially because we're trying to push the pop culture aspect on Major League Baseball as much as possible. We see it in NBA constantly. We wear the shoes. I'm a huge shoe geek. I'm a sneakerhead for sure. But I'm not looking at what the baseball players are wearing. I'm looking at what the NBA players are wearing. And we're not wearing the same stuff that baseball players are wearing unless I see them in street clothes and I want to see what they're doing. And I also hear, I'm right there with you, Todd, I don't think we should, fix anything that isn't broken. But I also know that there could be a narrative where we're constantly embracing the change. And I'm not comparing the uniforms to pitching clocks and bigger bases and all of that. But I think it was one of those things where it's like something's going too well and you want to see if you can enhance it a little bit more. I have no idea. I'm just speculating at this point. I know nothing. But I also know that it's always an experimentation with this game. And we started with the actual game itself. So if you're viewing that and you see how successful that is, why not take it a step further and doing what they're wearing? And it's just weird though. Like when I see the guys taking the photos, we just had media day recently, so we got to see them up close and personal, very much so in this case. But I also know that when it comes to that, it looks different and almost elementary to me. And I don't know what went behind any of these decisions or the design process, but I also know that how are you not having the conversations with the right people to make these decisions? Because it doesn't sound like they are. And, you have certain people speaking out about it. And the guys that I've spoken to, it's a small sample size. The guys that I've spoken to who do wear this uniform are very much like, I'll play in whatever. I don't care. Just get me the help. Just let me play. Let me get out there. And they're very genuine about that. But I think a lot of the veteran guys are, like you said, they have stuff to compare it to. And it's just such a sleek one color altogether. And now there's just so many nuances that we're getting distracted by. And I don't think that that's the ultimate goal. We just want it to look a certain way. And, I'm biased. I cover the A's, and that's a very sick uniform. It's so clean. It's so good. And it's different. But they managed to find the balance to make it look good and different. So I don't know why they're trying to make something different and ruin it, especially the normal colors, like the typical blues and the reds and the whites. And they're kind of, it's like a hot ass mess. I don't know.
Are we making a mountain out of a molehill here? Because
you guys always are, Eric. Like you guys just do that. That's who you are. But I think that's also it's good though. It's good that you guys are doing that because you guys of all people have been there. You know what it takes. And I feel like, and I'm a genuine person. If you look good, you feel good. If I show up to the ballpark and I'm in my best garb, I'm going to fucking nail every interview. I'm going to be so good about all my reporting and stuff like that. And it's no different than you guys, and when a pitcher gets to choose the uniform, when our pitchers put that Kelly green on, something magic's going to happen. It's just part of that issue. And it just goes into, that's a decision that they make. That's a decision that they make to start and they get on the bump and all the other players have to follow suit. But so I do to a certain extent think that you're making a bigger deal out of it, but you guys also aren't wearing the uniform, so you don't really know. But I also very much support why you should be pissed off about this, so it's just it's one of those things that I support both sides.
Well, then the other side should be, we have to grow the game. So we have to make a big deal out of this, but we also have to be willing to change, because exactly what you said, baseball needs to find a niche. Baseball's niche is you play every single day. Baseball's sucky niche is we don't leave anything, like nobody's, whatever, I won't go to today's game because another one's coming. Or, some ownership's going to just move the city. So there's no, what is baseball's niche? And maybe it's in the uniform. Maybe it's changing the uniforms, because basketball has their own niche in the sense of how they market, how they do all this stuff. But they have like 19 jerseys a season. So we have to find some kind of happy medium between the Yankees having 2 jerseys ever, and they're the most marketable team. And, basketball's most marketable team is the Bucks or the Warriors. And they have 19 jerseys that people can choose from. Maybe that's how people connect. So maybe baseball is behind the times and we should stop complaining about it.
I'm right there with you. And I just see things differently. And I know not only my demographic, I know who covers the game, and it's a certain type of person. I started my career at Cut 4, where we were always looking at the nuances, the differences, like what was going on in the dugout during the game, what they were sporting, what they were talking about, the type of flavor sunflower seeds they were eating, how many pieces of bubble gum they can chew before they make a big bubble. Those are the things that I was looking at on top of covering the game, because I wanted to find what separates and what makes baseball different and fun and sexy and all of those things. And I understand that not everybody's paying attention to that, but when they mess it up, that's when people start paying attention to it. Like you guys said, the uniforms were fine. They were better than fine. There is nothing better than a baseball player looking all together in his uniform, ready to go. It's just, there's something so good about it. And then knowing in 3 innings, especially if you're like a Dom Fletcher or you're Ramon Laureano, that thing's going to be dirty in the next 3 or 4 innings because you're going to lay out for a ball, or you're going to be Estee Ruiz, stealing his umpteenth base. That's the best part about it, because it's so clean, and then you dirty it up. And now it's already kind of dirtied up, and in this approach. So it just feels very like we put it in the hands of the person who doesn't know about the game. And I feel like it happens a lot in this game. And just like you said, we're looking for that thing that separates baseball from everybody else. And we kind of named it. It's different because it's different, which is beautiful. Like we're all baseball hardos. We're not all on the same level, as we're trying to introduce not just women, but a different demographic, a younger demographic. And then this is the product we give to them. You wonder why people aren't coming to games constantly. And you're right. And if you missed that game, there's another one. That's totally fair. You have a series, you have 3 more games, 2 more games to go to. The storyline's pretty much going to stay the same. You don't have to worry about that. Obviously, the pitcher matchup's going to be different. Injuries are going to change some things. But when it comes to the overall product, and we want to introduce a certain type of person into the game, and this is what we're giving them, like, what do you expect? So I'm right there with you.
We're never going to forget these team photos in spring training. That's for damn sure, because you can't take those back. But, for me, I actually think, Jess, that baseball had a PR mess 2 weeks ago when we see cheap, inconsistent uniforms, weird coloring that was off, right? The uniform and the number was worse on an update, all of that, right? This pants issue in the past 24 hours has actually wiped that out and now been the new problem. Like, we're not talking about, the numbers in the name or whatever is small, because that is another story too. And it just aesthetically doesn't look as good. And fans are pissed because they're going to pay more for uniforms and they look worse. But now, like you mentioned, I think it struck a chord with me that, and there we go again, a player has to worry about this, because now it becomes what Todd mentioned earlier, an embarrassment situation. So in that story in The Athletic by Stephen Nesbitt and friends, there was a quote from an anonymous player who said, you don't want to be worried about that bullshit on opening day. It's a shit show. Like, that's the problem. Is there are some guys that are in the Eric Kratz camp of, I don't want to complain. But I think they finally hit the line here with what's going on right now.
Right. I'm glad they are complaining, to a certain extent, because like it's a lot of, there's no more shut up and dribble anymore. I fucking hate that narrative. These guys have a voice. It gets me so. Why is DoorDash calling me? That's weird. I didn't order anything. Did I order something?
They're watching.
Anyway. Probably always. But I feel like that's very important because, even the guys that I've talked to that just want to go out and play, that could be they're at a different mindset than the rest of everybody. And I totally understand that. But same thing, like you want to like the Deion Sanders, you want to look good, you want to feel good. Why have one extra layer of worry when you spent the entire spring training worried you're going to get a roster spot? That's half of the, like more half of the battle. You're battling it out. You wait to the last minute. You're Brent Rooker who waits to the very last minute to get the call that you made the team. And then you have to worry about this stuff, which sounds silly because I bet you $1 million if Brent Rooker showed up on last year's opening day with that uniform, he's like, I'm going to play. I don't care. But things go on, things take time, and you're going to do what you need to do. And that's part of it. Imagine a minor leaguer 10 years in just grinding it out. You show up to the bigs and this is the product you're given. And I get it. They're probably going to suck it up, but that's not what we were telling you about the dream to get there and all of that. And I think that that's important too, because we're constantly like, well, what's on their baseball reference page? You guys know I'm a sucker. I love these guys and I will do anything for them. And I'm approaching them. If they go 0 for 19, they're in a slump. I'm very much aware of what's going on, but we can't tell them, to show up and hit the ball. But if they're uncomfortable, like that's not fair. And like I mentioned, like all I do is show up sometimes and I have a microphone in my hand, or I write up a quick thing, or I host my podcast. So that's a very minute detail of what comes into my daily life. But how are we supposed to make them go out and, hit the ball every third at bat and expect them to be great, but they don't have the right equipment to do that? Because the uniform, sure, it's part of the look, but it's also part of the equipment and how they're supposed to show up and play their best. And if they're going to be uncomfortable throughout the process, what are we expecting? That's not fair.
Yeah, you're right. Hey, I mean, I didn't play. Fun to get these guys' perspective, but like I played high school basketball, and if I showed up to practice and I was wearing a heavy sweatshirt, I probably wouldn't shoot as well than if I was wearing, a sleeveless jersey. It's hindering ability to perform, and it's embarrassing.
Or think about when you throw,
yeah.
Or when I used to throw out the first pitch, I wouldn't know how to throw a ball unless I had a mitt on. Or a glove on. I wouldn't know how to do that because it's just what I'm used to. It's the muscle memory of it all. So why would that be any different if it's, and like, you're going to have to adjust. These things happen. You're not going to be forced to do stuff. And these guys add the stuff on, whether it's the sweatbands, there's certain types of cleats and what have you. But the uniform that they all have to wear that you can't adjust. And not only that, but you're going to be uncomfortable. It's something that women deal with on a daily basis constantly. So why do we have to have, maybe they get to, have to adjust to it too, but to be uncomfortable knowing that things are going to show, like it's actually kind of a messed up thing for them to have to go through. Because now that they've seen the photos, they know what's showing. That's going to make then you get on a tear where you're in the outfield and it's a little bit wet. The next thing you know, you're at Jersey Shore status. So it's just one of those things.
Hey, any publicity
Todd.
is
Todd.
definitely good publicity. Whoa.
Shot fired, Jersey Shore.
Whoa. No. I love Snooki. I was Snooki in a different life with the big hair, the tan. I have a shirt that says, where is the beach? Todd, I wouldn't, I have your back always, Todd. Never. I would never back.
No doubt. Hey, I knew it came from a good place.
Jersey love.
Yeah.
Jersey
exactly.
love.
Well, Mikey in the chat had a good point. Several years ago, the NBA and Spalding tried a different basketball. I remember this. The players hated it. They went back to the old ball after only a few games. Let's see if MLB does the same. Doubt it. And
that's the problem.
Changing some basketballs versus changing uniforms is tougher. What?
The MLB doesn't do these things quick. That's the problem, I think.
No,
it's like
slow.
They sit there and they're like, oh, yeah, no, there's more important topics. Well, of course there is, but it's going to take forever, and it might not even get switched. So, good luck. Here we go.
Yeah, I think that's fair too. Is the logistics of it all? How does that work? I'm not having their back on this necessarily, but but it's maybe they're getting it early on now. By the time opening day comes around, something changes, but there's enough of a response where you're getting statements from people involved. But we'll see. Who knows?
They've got a month to figure this out, so they need to. Although, the players wear the old pants, right?
Yeah, they should put Jess and all these beautiful women to figure out the right outfits to wear for these guys to play. comfort-wise and looks-wise, and I think we'll be all right. What do you say?
I agree. And like, I played baseball before. Like I know like the aesthetic that goes involved with it. But I also know that it's not really 100% up to me. But if we're constantly hearing players and NL All-Star complaining, like that's going to talk about something. I mean, they know it looks good, and we're always trying to make these different changes. That's why, every year with the Players Weekend or All-Stars, like they have certain aspects to them and everything. But if you look at the other sports like NFL, NBA, when they do have All-Stars or Pro Bowl, they don't get too cute with it. They just leave it normal. And I know I was on the show for the All-Star break, but at the same time, I feel like it's constant, like we're trying to get too cutesy with stuff, and we've already done all the changes to the game. Why are we constantly trying to add bows and stuff? Like when you wrap a present and it looks good, like leave it alone. Just leave it alone. You don't got to add any more things. Like, don't put on too much makeup. I struggle with that. I try to go too hard and like the eyeliner and stuff like that. And I look in the mirror, I'm like, who's that clown? And it's one of those things. So it's just like you leave it alone, keep it simple, do what you got to do. And I think it's going to be fine. I think that's what's ultimately happening here. It's too much. We're trying too hard.
We're trying too hard, and it was a money grab too, because now players can't get things done custom. That's a money thing, right? Like it costs more to customize versus having like 4 fits for everyone, because every baseball player can fit into 4 molds. So, Jess, important topic here. I feel like you and me could, decipher if there was a see-through pants situation. I feel like we could quality control that in 5 seconds. So I don't know what went wrong here, but like I've been to a store and tried on a shirt and I'm like, oh, this is see-through. I'm not going to buy this. But apparently
you would buy that.
The message got lost.
That sounds like the Scott Braun
you're right situation. For
sounds
a
like
festival,
a
yes. For a baseball game, no. So
Scott returns shirts that aren't see-through. He's like, I'm not doing that. Like, what is that?
Exactly.
Make uniforms for MLB players, not for ravers. Jess, thank you so much. Have a great weekend, and hopefully we fix this malfunction. We appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.